Well, at one point, you actually started to expand into other things like loan sharking, extortion, and drug dealing.
What happened, the late 80s, the market crashed down in Cape Cod in my area. And, the area was overbuilt. And at that time, I think I had 3 houses on Martha's Vineyard. I had a condo back in Boston, and I lost everything. So I came home at 90 with nothing, just my 2 kids and a minivan. So the best thing I could do is I put a gun on my back and I went on the street. The Luisi name was already in the neighborhood with my father and my family. It was pretty easy for me to slide in there. you know. Then I started with the drugs, card clubs, bookmaking, loan sharking, and obviously the drugs. That was the big money maker for me.
Okay, so the drugs was your main thing. Was it mostly cocaine?
Cocaine.
At the height of that drug business, how much were you buying at a time? How many kilos?
Well, I had them dropped off at different places, like 4 or 5 at a time. The Columbians would bring to me. I would never, try to get an order of 10, 20, 30, 40 at a time. I was responsible for it, so I didn't want to, just in case. So there was a lot of visits to the safe houses that I had.
So you were working with the Columbians at the time.
Yeah.
Was it Escobar or was it someone else?
I don't know what outfit it was, I got to be honest with you. I got him through a contact, a friend, and he was a good guy. We called him the Mole, and there was another guy, Alex. There were several different guys at the time, But I never got into deep conversations with them, and I just assumed they were with that outfit, bringing all this stuff up to Boston,
Well, right. I guess doing 4 or 5 kilos, Escobar is not really going to have a conversation.
No, I'm not. I wasn't at that. No, listen, I wasn't at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, I made millions of dollars with it, but, I'm not going to lie to you. Like I said, 4 or 5 at a time, a few times a week, 3 times a week, and then I would take them and recon it. And that's where I made all my money with it.
What does that mean exactly?
I used to break it down, make new keys out of it, and push the keys.
Oh, so you'd cut it with whatever else?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when you talk about the cocaine game, it's usually very violent. It's usually, a lot of backstabbing. There's dirty cops. There's packages disappearing. There's, stash houses getting raided and so forth. How much of that did you have to go through yourself?
Tell you not much. We were very careful. I was never robbed. I didn't have that problem. I mean, there were struggles with other guys that were dealing drugs in different crews. I'll admit that, But we took care of all of that, and we just kept going with it, I mean, there's different areas. I never set myself up. I could have got bigger with the drugs, but I was happy where I was. I made a few million right away, and the money kept coming in. So I wasn't greedy with it. I didn't want to expand anymore. I was happy with my operation. It was pretty safe. So the way I was running everything.
Well, you had said at one point there was a turf war over the drugs, and there ended up being a number of murders over that.
But there was a turf war over the different factions of the family. See what happened, and Frankie Salemi became the boss in the early 90s, and they really didn't want him there. The Boston faction didn't want him there. Luckily for him, Joe Russo, Vinny Ferraro, all these guys got picked up and were in prison. And so Frankie just slid in there with his faction, and I was part of his faction for a little while. And the old faction and the guys with them, fought against us. Eventually, most of them all got picked up or murdered. I lost some people too, and I was like the last guy standing there for a little while.